Something very interesting about my agency and Missouri Southern's EMT and paramedic programs is we do not require a specific narrative format when writing patient care reports. The main reason for this is because people would come from outside agencies writing in a specific format, and then they would come to our programs and say, hey, we write in the SOAP format. I want you to adapt all of your narratives to the SOAP format. And then people were struggling to change over to that format and include all of the information that was needed in a much different setup. So instead, what we've adapted is, hey, here is all the information you need to have in your reports. It doesn't matter how you write them as long as all that information is there. No matter what format it is, whether it's chronological, SOAP, chart, D chart, whatever have you, there's going to be very, very, very basic stuff that needs to be included in these formats, and that's what I want to go over. I am born and raised in the chart format. It is what I started writing in, and it's what I still write in today. Most recently, I've actually started writing in D chart, which is where you put all of your dispatch information first, and then you go into the chart format. So that's the example I'm going to be using today. To me, chart makes the most sense because everything is broke up into a very organized setup. So your dispatch information is pretty basic. It's what you were toned for. I always put my unit number, usually what fire response I'm getting. So I'd put unit 10 and city limit fire was dispatched to above address for age and gender. So like 80-year-old male for a chief complaint, fall, and then my dispatch code or my response code. If you don't know what that is, it's the EMD system, whereas Alpha Bravo Charlie Delta. This is something that my agency also harps on. So I would put fall, Bravo response. Then I put the patient's chief complaint. So why my agency is harping on us putting the dispatch information is because what we're noticing is the chief complaint noted by dispatch may be vastly different than the patient's chief complaint. So if I was toned out for a fall, I may put the patient's chief complaint is lower back pain secondary to a fall. The history is, to me, the meat and potatoes of your narrative. This is everything that happened prior to 911 being called or what led up to 911 being called, and everything that happened prior to you, EMS, arriving on scene. So this is everything the patient, the family, the bystander, whoever called 911 is telling me that led up to 911 being called. What started the pain? What was happening before the pain started? What happened before the shortness of breath started? What led to the patient falling and being injured? What led to the car crash that happened? This is also where I put my sample and OPQRST questions. This one to me is a little controversial because technically, yes, these are assessment questions and I'm not putting it in my actual assessment. But during sample and OPQRST, the patient is telling me what happened before the pain started. What does the pain feel like? Does the pain get better or worse with anything? This is still pertaining to why 911 was being called, so I put it up here. I also put everything that happened when fire got on scene or police got on scene, what they did, the set of vitals that they got. Did they start CPR? Did they do extrication? Anything that they did prior to me arriving on scene that I did not see. And now we get into assessment, the head to toe, DCAT, BTLS, ABCs, all the above. What you found on your physical assessment of the patient. How did you find the patient? Were they laying on the floor? Were they laying in bed? Were they still in the car? Did they have their airway intact? Was their breathing okay? Was their skin okay? DCAT, BTLS, what did you find on your trauma assessment? My first set of vitals, all the above. Everything that I am seeing on the patient on my first initial assessment. So this assessment is everything prior to treatments. So the R and the T section is actually what made me want to create this video because I had a really long talk with a coworker about this. Your R section is your scene treatments. Everything that happened before you started transport. So how did you get the patient out of the house? How did you carry them to the cot? How did they get secured to the cot? How did they get to the ambulance? What did you do as soon as you got in the ambulance? How did you get vitals? What IV or IO did you start? What oxygen did you put on? What is your 12-lead interpretation? What medications did you give? Everything that happened prior to transport. And then as soon as that truck starts moving to the hospital, that gets put in the transport section. So serial set of vitals, any patient changes. So if I gave a medication on scene, in my transport section, I would put patient reported relief from administered medication, or patient did not report relief from administered medication and a second dose was given. This is also where I put my radio report, not like my actual radio report. I just put radio report was given to receiving facility, what room I took the patient to upon arrival of said facility, my handoff report to the nurse or the physician, patient signed transport documentation, patient care was handed over to receiving staff, and EMS returned to service. Like I said, this is the format that I have always wrote in, and it's the one that makes the most sense to me. But what format do you write in? Do you write in SOAP? Do you write chronological? Do you write in chart? Do you write in D chart? what is the easiest for you, and what do you guys teach in your EMS programs or agencies? That is all. I hope this helps, and I hope this was a good resource. I'm going to put these screenshots right here of the notes that I took in case you want them. That is all. Have a good shift.